It's Chris Smith time. Oh, hello everybody. It's me, Chris Smith. And I am here this week to review Jagged Little Pill. Oh, excuse me, Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill, the musical. Now, I saw this way back on Sunday, September 25th, 2022, at the Hollywood Pantages Theater. I am so sorry that it's taken me this long to review it. As I've told you recently, when I did my Moulin Rouge review, after I saw Moulin Rouge, I came down with COVID, and I have had a terrible time getting my energy back. Though I'm all negative and everything, but just the idea of doing a video has been a chore, which is so strange because I love doing them. But especially when we're dealing with a show that's on a national tour right now, and I like to do my review pretty quickly and then tell you the dates of the shows that that are coming up all over the country, so you can go if you happen to see this review. Not that my review would get you to go to a show, but maybe, I don't know. Now, Jagged Little Pill is a show that I was very excited about because it started toward the end of 2019, and it was all the shows closed down, of course, in March of 2020 when the great pandemic hit. And so during the pandemic, I bought a bunch of posters, and here is the Jagged Little Pill poster. And I love that I don't really quite understand the whole hand thing. I don't really like this logo, I like this font better. But I do like that I like the blue background. I love the lyrics, on the poster. I see right through you. Yes, everything's gonna be fine, fine, fine. So I was very excited I would buy posters and theater merchandise during the pandemic because I wanted to throw a little money somewhere toward the industry. And I put Mrs. Doubtfire the musical up. I got a bunch of posters that I wanted to get. Was really obsessed with Company, the revival, during the pandemic because, we couldn't see anything. So Jagged Little Pill, I was excited that it came so quickly, when theater returned and it came on tour. Unfortunately, when it reopened in New York, it shut down pretty quickly because of the Delta variant, I think it was, that hit New York pretty bad. And so I think it closed like in December of 2019, and they had just opened a few months before. So that was very disappointing. But of course, the tour is going on now. And guess who is starring in it? None other than Heidi Blickenstaff, who I absolutely adore. I was obsessed years ago and still am with Title of Show, the off-Broadway musical, which is about two guys writing a musical, about two guys writing a musical, about two guys writing a musical. It's very meta. It's had four people, well, really five, and a chair, four chairs, and a keyboard. And Heidi was one of the actors in the show, and Heidi Blickenstaff played Heidi. And Hunter and Jeff and Susan and Larry were also in it. And I adore Heidi. I think she has the voice of an angel. I mean, better than an angel, really. No offense to angels. But Heidi's voice, there's something so pure about it. I don't know that I've heard a voice like Heidi's since maybe, like a Karen Carpenter type voice that's just so real and just gets in here. That's how Heidi's voice does to me. So for me, seeing this show was very exciting. Now, I was supposed to go to opening night, but I had to cancel because I was still right at the end of my quarantine from being COVID positive. And so I had to miss the opening night that I was going to go with my friend Rob, the theater critic. So I ended up getting a ticket toward the end of its run in LA because how long was it here in LA? It was here from September 13th to October 2nd. So it wasn't a really long run. So, I saw it on the 25th. I would have liked to have seen it again, really. But, alas. But Heidi is the secret sauce in this touring production of Jagged Little Pill. And here are some other pictures. Now, the story is about a family called the Healy family. It has a book by Diablo Cody, who wrote Juno and has written many things. Here's the cast on the touring company. And it's a very solid cast. It's a very solid show. Let's see. It was nominated, for 15 Tony Awards. Now, Jagged Little Pill is, of course, the 1995 Alanis Morissette album. It was her third album. It was her third studio album. And, of course, according to Wikipedia, it was released in June of 1995 through Maverick. And this was her Alanis Morissette's first album to be released worldwide. Now, the Broadway production opened to positive reviews. And according to this, the New York Times described the musical as redemptive, rousing, and real. And like I said, it got nominated for 15 Tony Awards, and it won for Best Book of a Musical by Diablo Cody, and it won for Best Performance by a Featured Actress in a Musical for Lauren Patten. And she was also nominated against her co-stars Katherine Gallagher and Celia Rose Gooding. It's always hard when co-stars are all nominated together, up against each other, because it always cancels somebody. You cancel each other out. But so Lauren Patten won. So it got 2 awards, which is pretty good because it was the year that Moulin Rouge was just sweeping everything. It was the Tonys weren't held until we returned for that weird little Tony Awards where there were only like 3 musicals that were nominated for Best Show, and the one actor from Moulin Rouge was up against himself and nobody else. He had to get a certain number of votes to even win his Tony. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been any winner, which would have been sad. But so it was nominated for 15 Tonys. And the show is a very solid show, as I said. It was it started at ART, the show before, back in the day. That's the American Repertory Theater in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And this was in May of 2018, directed by Diane Palis. Now, there was some controversy because apparently one of the characters, the character of Joe, was non-binary in the ART run, and that's the role that Lauren Patten played, and she's a cisgender woman. Well, I guess when the show went to Broadway, all of that was removed from the show, and any references to her being non-binary were taken out of the show. So there was some controversy. I think there were some actors complaining about sort of safety issues or how the treatment of certain actors. So all of that came out, I think, even during the pandemic, maybe in 2021, perhaps, or 2020. And the show sort of came under scrutiny, but of course it survived, and I'm sure these matters are being addressed. But did I already tell you, or did I tell you in the other video that got deleted, that the New York Times described the musical as redemptive, rousing, and real? Jagged Little Pill stands alongside the original musicals that have been sustaining the best hopes of Broadway. And yes, so that's high praise. Now, while I was at the theater, I bought the Jagged Little Pill magnet. I bought the other poster, which is up there. That's the new poster. And but I'm glad that I still have the original. And I even went back and ordered the magnet that goes along with the original artwork. Now, the reason I like this one is because it's a little more simple. I like the font. I like that it's an upside-down house, because this family in this musical, their lives are just upside down. And you may be saying to yourself, what is this show about? Well, it's about 2.5 hours. No, I'm kidding. Though it is. It might even be a little longer. It's about the Healy family. Mary Jane, MJ Healy. Her husband, Steve. Their daughter, Mary Frances, Frankie, who is adopted. She's a black girl, an African-American girl. And she's having trouble, being raised by this family, this all-white family, and, she sort of feels like the outsider. And also the fact that she's a bit of a protester. She's a little bit of a rebel rouser, and sort of butts heads with her mother a little bit. And then the son, Nick, in the family is like the golden boy. He is one of those that can do no wrong. So the mother has an addiction to pills. She had been in a car accident, so she's still taking painkillers. The daughter has a romance with another girl, Joe. The son witnesses, I shouldn't tell you too much, but he does witness what may be a rape that a friend of his commits at a party. And the father, Steve, is addicted to pornography, and him and his wife, MJ, are having to go to marriage counseling. So this family has a lot going on. And, of course, there's so much more to it than that. The choreography is amazing. The energy is incredible in this show. I also bought this book, but I bought this a long time before. The Jagged Little Pill, You Live, You Learn, the stories behind the iconic album and groundbreaking musical. And it is chock full of the script, pictures from the show. I recommend this book to anybody who loves theater or anybody who's a writer, because you have dialogue. Oh, there are scenes in this show that are choreographed with Mary Jane, MJ, that are just incredible. Her whole meltdown. Oh my God. They do this one number where everything goes backwards. So she's going to buy drugs from a dealer because she can't go get it from the pharmacist anymore. Her refills. And then everything starts moving backwards, and it's just perfect. The whole stagecraft of that it just blew my little mind. Now, it is still on tour. You must go. Ignore the Los Angeles thing. It's in San Francisco now until November 6th. Then it goes to Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon. Then it's going to be Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to Greensboro, North Carolina. It's going to Baltimore, Maryland. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Providence, Rhode Island. Pittsburgh. Go to their website and see all of these cities and then you can decide for yourself which city will be closest to yours. And it goes all the way up to Minneapolis, Minnesota in August of 2023. So I'm glad that theater's back. And in case you're worried, all of the songs you love are in the show, including I'm broke but I'm happy, I'm poor but I'm kind, I'm short but I'm healthy, yeah. I'm high but I'm grounded, I'm sane but I'm overwhelmed, Blackie's barking. I'm lost but I'm hopeful, baby. And what it all comes down to is that everything's gonna be fine, fine, fine. 'Cause I've got one hand in my pocket and the other one is giving a high five. It has ironic, which is used very funny in the show. It has you oughta know. Poopy fart, bot, crunch, jolly, buddy, jut. And it has you live, you learn, you love, you learn, you crime. So all your favorites are there. So do rush out and see Jagged Little Pill.